Hey guys, Coach Smith here. I want to talk to you today about goal setting. Now, you've all been exposed to people telling you, coaches telling you, parents telling you, you got to set some goals, you got to set some goals. But we're going to really get into it today. I'm going to teach you why and how to set goals. And we're going to go a little bit deep. Now, you guys are special, your quarterbacks, your QB parents, your coaches. So you're going to be able to hang with me here. Let's go deep into this. I think you'll find it really interesting. First thing I want to talk to you about is a person by the name of Napoleon Hill. He was a success author in the turn of the century. He studied 25,000 people over a 20-year period. 500 of the most successful people that our country's ever seen. People like Alexander Graham Bell, Henry Ford, the Kellogg brothers, the Wright brothers, Carnegie, J.P. Morgan, these titans of industry, these agents of change that created the country as in the world as we know it today. And what he found was fascinating. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that their success was based on their talent or their special skills? Well, the answer is no. Napoleon Hill found that there were no special talents or skills that this group of people had, but what they did have was a superior ability to use their intellectual properties. Now, that's fascinating. You might be asking, well, okay, that sounds cool, but what are intellectual properties? Well, intellectual properties are your ability to reason, your imagination, your intuition, what your gut tells you, being in touch with your soul, right? Perception, how you perceive things, your memory, and your will. Those are the 6 intellectual properties that exist. And a couple of them that are very important in goal setting are imagination and intuition. Let's talk for a minute about goal setting. This intellect comes into play in goal setting. I'm going to write goal setting here, okay? But laws come into effect in goal achieving. Okay? So as we talk about goal setting, we're going to talk about some intellectual properties, specifically imagination and intuition. And then you'll see how those can become very, very important. And then we'll get into the laws part of achieving, which are extremely important, because really success, all it really is the cumulative effect of repeated behaviors over time. That's a law, just like there's laws of nature, there's laws of gravity. The law of achieving when it comes to success is based in a lot of habit and behavior. So let's get into this. I think you'll find it interesting. Okay, so goal setting based on using these intellectual properties of imagination and intuition. 5 common mistakes when we set goals that seem to sabotage our results. Number 1 is we set goals based on what we think we can achieve. The problem is this: Abraham Maslow was a famous scientist of human behavior, and what he said was very profound, in that people, human beings, either step forward into growth or retreat back into safety. When you step forward into growth, you've got to get outside of your comfort zone. And when you get outside of your comfort zone, you're going to experience pain. If you don't have a real lofty goal, then when you experience that pain, you're going to retreat back into safety where it's warm and comfortable. Okay, so you've got to set a goal, a stretch goal that's big enough that when you experience that pain and adversity, you're going to be willing to persevere through that. Another famous saying that gets said often, I hear it a lot, you may have heard it, but Mike Tyson, when asked about this upcoming opponent that he had a plan for him, and his response was brilliant. He says, listen, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face, okay? What he's talking about there is just what I described, experiencing pain. When you're experiencing pain, you're willing to surrender your goal. Many people are willing to surrender their goal if their goal isn't big enough. So we can't set goals based on what we know we can achieve. We've got to set bigger goals that we're going to be willing to withstand the pain and discomfort when it comes, and it will, okay? The second thing is we set goals according to a plan. But one of the laws of the universe is that it's called the law of vibration. Things are always in motion. Things are always in, even this room that I'm standing in is in motion. You come back in a few hundred years, this structure that I'm in right now will be gone. Why? Because it's this constant state of vibration and the materials will break down over a long enough period of time. So things change, right? Things change, and what happens is most of the time when the plan changes, people will just reduce or surrender their goal. What they should do is change their plan, right? So don't set goals according to a specific plan. Be willing to change the plan rather than adjust your goal. Okay, the other thing is we set goals based on what we know. So this is a big mistake. You have to set goals based on things that you don't already know. Let me give you a couple examples. When the Wright brothers were trying to invent flying, no one knew how to fly. In fact, their dad told them that human beings weren't meant to fly and flying was evil. They already had that working against them, but then they're trying to do something that's never been done before. Well, when they figured out, how to get something in the air for a little while, they hadn't even thought about how to land it. So everything was just a continual process of discovery and trial and error and failure. That's the way that achievement works. Think about Roger Bannister. Roger Bannister is an Englishman who was the first human being to run the sub 4-minute mile. It was once considered for a very long period of time, for hundreds of years, that running the sub 4-minute mile was impossible. So no one thought it was possible, and no one ever achieved it until this guy named Roger Bannister came along and he ran a sub 4-minute mile. The fascinating thing about that is within weeks and months afterwards, multiple people broke the 4-minute mile simply because they believed it wasn't possible. So you've got to surrender the idea of knowing how to accomplish something. And just know that your intellect, your ability to reason and think and be creative and rely on your internal resources and your gut and your trial and error and your perseverance, those intellectual properties will allow you to eventually reach your goal if you trust those processes. Number 4, questioning the right. We question the right of whether or not we're worthy. The thing that I just try to convey to myself and other people is absolutely you're worthy if you're doing it for the right reason, right? No one accomplishes things alone. Anything worthwhile that you achieve is built upon the backs of other people who helped you achieve it. So I think it's really important when you're setting goals, think about a higher purpose. Why do you want to achieve this goal, and what are you going to do once you accomplish some goals? If you root your goals in being a leader and helping other people, then I think that purpose will pull you along. It will pull you along and motivate you, and it will help you eliminate the idea subconsciously that maybe you're just not worthy, right? So attach it to a strong purpose, and I think that'll help that subconscious thing, that inside of you, that internal voice that tells you you're not worthy. If it's rooted in a sense of purpose, then I think that'll help you a lot. And then finally is a mistake is that we tend to believe that we just want to accomplish a goal. We want to reach a goal. So the goal is to accomplish the goal. And the problem with that is that there's always another mountain to climb. And when you achieve the goal, the sense of satisfaction that you feel will be fleeting. Okay, it's not going to last. You're not going to all of a sudden like, oh, well, I've arrived. I'm there. I've reached this place of no, because there's always going to be another step and another step that you want to achieve. So don't think that getting to some place is going to be the end all and be all. Okay, there's always going to be another mountain to climb. There's always going to be a better version of you that you're going to want to achieve. So this is a process. This is a process, and that's why it's if you think about goal setting as just a journey of self-discovery and reaching your fullest potential, then your journey is going to be a lot more satisfying. Okay, now let's get into some specific strategies on how to set goals. Goal setting. Now we're going to talk about the specific strategies and how to. First of all, we're going to set some long-term goals. Long-term goals. Okay, now, long-term goals might be if you're a freshman or a sophomore in high school, for example, it might be becoming a starter on the varsity. It might be if you're entering your varsity career, it might be, playing at the college level or obtaining a scholarship. It might be, to be all conference. Those are results-oriented goals, okay? Results-oriented goals. Now, I'm a big believer that it's okay to not have results-oriented goals. In fact, one of the most popular college football coaches today, Nick Saban, doesn't believe in result-oriented goals. And I've heard other coaches like Urban Meyer, a former coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, talk about this as well. Why would they not be in favor of results-oriented goals? Well, what they're basing their reasoning on, and I agree, is that if you don't achieve a goal, for example, if you get beat out, or if it's a team goal that you want to win the conference or beat your rival, well, what happens when you don't? There's no reason to continue to play. You don't have hope. One of the things that as human beings we need is we need hope. We need a reason to continue to work and pursue. And the moment that goal is not possible, then we're going to quit working and quit becoming the best version of us. So rather than having a results-oriented goal, I think it's perfectly reasonable, in fact, maybe encouraged, to have effort-related goals. Effort-related goals. So what's an effort-related goal? A non-outcome related goal. For example, it could be I'm going to pursue excellence in everything that I do. I'm going to be relentlessly positive in my approach to the game. It may be I'm going to be a leader and help others reach their full potential by looking for opportunities to help others daily. Those are examples. Being a great teammate, being the best version of myself. Those would be tremendous non-results or non-outcome related goals. Okay, so you set long-term goals, okay? But just if you're going to set results-oriented long-term goals, do this. When they become unachievable, set new ones. Set new ones so you always have something to be working towards to becoming the best version of you. The next thing you need to do is you need to break your long-term goals that might be a year or two in front of you, into shorter term goals. Okay, if you have a goal to play at the college level, you might want to win the starting job first. Okay, so that would be an example of breaking it down into a shorter term goal. I want to win the job as the starting quarterback or whatever your position is this season. So we've got to break those shorter term goals down. So we've got to get some wins. We've got to have internal boost to energize us and to keep us going. And if you have long-term goals, those things are so far out on the horizon that it's difficult on a day in and day out basis to continue to have the energy, to find the passion that's required to put the work in. So you got to break these goals into shorter term goals so we can get some wins along the way. So reduce your long-term goals into shorter term goals. Okay, let's go back to the long-term goals for a moment because I forgot to mention something. You want to make those goals realistic but challenging. Remember, we talked about Abraham Maslow's law of living, and that people will either step forward into growth or retreat back into safety, right? So you've got to have them be very challenging so that when you experience that failure, adversity, and challenge, you get punched in the face, you're going to continue in your pursuit. You're not going to retreat back into safety because your goal is big enough, it's strong enough, it's pulling you along. It's your sense of why you're doing it, right? Get in touch with your why, your reason for wanting to do something. That will pull you along as you go. Okay, so long term we're going to reduce into shorter term goals. Now we're going to reduce these things into action goals, activity goals. And what do I mean by that? Well, if your goal is to be the starter, then the question is what specific activities do you need to do to be the starter? And then those need to be broken down into a weekly basis. Well, I got to do my speed work 2 times a week. I got to lift 3 times a week. I got to throw 3 or 4 times a week. I got to go get my coaching with Coach Smith or whoever it is once or twice a week. Okay, those are activity goals. Okay, so now we're doing these things on a daily basis. We're getting wins on a daily basis. We're feeling good. We're staying energized. That's what it's all about. That's the process. Okay, so break those shorter term goals down into activity goals. Now, some key points. I want to talk about some key points. By the way, you can go to my website, winningedgeskills.com, and download a copy of this goal setting worksheet that's going to contain everything I'm talking to you about. It's a free download, and I think that'll help you a lot. You can work off it as you set your goals. It'll kind of be a guide that you can use as you set your goals. You got to keep your goals in front of you. Got to keep your goals in front of you. When I work with athletes, I say, hey, write your goals down. Text me a picture of them on your bathroom mirror. Okay, in your bedroom. Something you look in your locker, something you look at daily. Keep those things in front of you. Constant reminder. Human nature is going to pull us into that direction if we're seeing those goals often, keeping those things in front of us. Share your goals with someone else, a parent, a coach, a friend. Why? Because it's going to create a sense of accountability. You know that, like, okay, man, coach, he knows what my goals are. I've told him what my activity goals are. So it's going to cause you to be more accountable to them. And the days that you don't feel like doing it, you're like, man, I better do it because I know that he's watching me, or I know she's watching me. I know they're going to ask. I gave them permission to ask about my efforts, right? Accountability is huge. So you share those goals with other people that you want as an accountability partner in helping you achieve them. Okay, we're going to focus on effort. We're not going to focus on results. We're focusing on the effort, not the results, knowing that the effort is what will get you there. Again, success is just the cumulative effect of repeated behaviors over time. That's these activities, the daily activities I'm talking about. Okay, now we're going to make our goals SMART. Now, what are SMART goals? Let me write this down for you. Specific. I want to throw for 2,600 yards next season. I want to be an all-conference quarterback. Whatever if you're a coach, whatever your position is, okay, make them specific, okay? Measurable. I want to run a 4.840, okay? That's measurable. Shuttle drill, a vertical jump, maybe something like, hey, if I'm a baseball player, I'm not going to go down on any called strikes, okay? Those things, anything that can be measured, make them measurable. Make those part of your short-term measurable goals. We talked about this. Activity-based. Spent quite a bit of time on that right here. Reduced to activity goals. Realistic. Certainly talked about that, right? Keep them realistic but challenging. So we keep going once we get punched in the mouth and experience that pain. And then time-based. I want to achieve this goal by, and write the date down. Write the specific date down. August 1st. I want to be running a 4.840. Okay, that's called having SMART goals. And that'll help you be able to become the best version of you and reach the goals that you have for your life. So the question for you as I leave is, what is your plan to develop the skills that you'll need for what you want in life? If I can help you, reach out to me. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Winning Edge Skills on Facebook, Winning Edge QBR on Twitter. Check out the website, winningedgeskills.com. Certainly give me a call if I can help you. Phone number's down below. Appreciate you guys being here.